a sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. As you can see, I have a guest here, which is always fun when I have somebody in person. This is Glenda Toews. That's how I pronounce your name?
Toews or Taves, if you're a hockey fan. It's Jonathan Taves. I say Toews because...
Well, it's your name.
It's my name.
Okay, thanks for being here, by the way.
Oh, my pleasure.
She's here to talk about this book. Oh my gosh, people. Let me just bring it in. I haven't finished it.
What part are you at?
We just got into Cherry.
Okay.
So anyway, the title here, as you can see, is Spinning on a Barstool, and down here it says Pub Stories. I heard them all, and then I became one. It's been a long time since I've picked up a book that I didn't want to put down.
Oh, okay.
And I love that. Like when you're so into it, it's like I'm feeling all the emotions. Yes. I'm frustrated. I'm excited. All of these things.
Good. So was I.
It's a really awesome read. It really is good. So let's go back to what inspired you to write the book?
Well, truly, it was a situation that had happened. We'd had a customer come into the pub. I've worked at Corky's pub for it's about 14 years now. So over COVID, I think it was just before one of the first shutdowns, just when everything was kind of yucky, it brought in this incredible human being from the Cayman Islands. And he is a casino magnate, or he's a casino magnate from the Cayman Islands. And he got stranded in Chilliwack. He was married to a Canadian whose family lived in Chilliwack, and he was stranded here. And he could go back to the Cayman Islands, but he said she couldn't because she was Canadian. Cayman Islands had closed down, so he was stuck. And over the course of the time, we became friends. He would come in, he was a customer of mine, became friends, and one thing led to another. He actually had brought it up. He said during his stay, he'd noticed a lot of homelessness here in Chilliwack.
Right.
And he was fairly wealthy, and he really wanted to work at it and help it out. And so we were coming up with ideas and a plan to do that. And it didn't go exactly as we had planned. And so at the end of the day, I wrote a book about it. So yeah.
Okay, I haven't got to the part where
that's okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, the plans were good, and then it didn't go as we were planning. So I mean, that's what happens with life.
Right.
You carry along. I think I've written about our property up there.
Yes.
That also didn't go as planned. So nonetheless, it's still beautiful, and we're enjoying the property up there.
Yeah. So. Now, up there. Where's up there?
Chilliwack River Valley.
Okay. One of the things too is like you make it sound in a way as I'm just saying for Glenda, you have to read this book because it's a little more complicated than that, and you bring in other characters, which is really nice.
Yes.
Who he ended up being with after his divorce, people that you worked with, right? Or
and my customers as well.
Yeah.
And some of my customers' stories, all of my customer stories in there are what stories that they had told me. Some asked to have their names changed. Some decided that they would rather just be who they are and didn't have a problem with their names being the same. When you work at a place for such a long time, it becomes like your second family.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and it was quite fascinating when you read their stories and some of the trials they go through. Yeah.
It's amazing too that how they're willing to share their stories, right? But I guess, as you say, they feel like your family. You're there, you're listening, right?
And I think in general, humans are storytellers.
Yeah.
So, and especially when you're at the pub environment during the day, which is essentially what I work, is a place generally where a lot of lonely people come. And they have had spouses that have passed away or who are sick, or they're just looking for a brief escape from the world, and they come in, and sometimes they just want to sit quietly by themselves, and sometimes they want to talk. And and then they share their stories. Like I said, we're humans. We like to share stories.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because my husband, he's passed away, but after his divorce, I guess he was very lonely, and he used to go to, I think it was Friendly Mike's space, and he knew the waitresses there and they knew him by
Yeah.
name, and it ended up that one of the waitresses, so like I did some improv and she did improv with us. So it was like that small world, you know,
Yeah.
she said, oh yes, I remember Bill.
Yes, yes.
Pretty quiet, but you know, always friendly.
Yes.
But it's not so interesting, you know, like I'm not a bar
Oh,
person.
yeah, okay.
Because I don't drink.
Yes, yeah.
You know, it's not.
We have a lot of people come in who don't drink.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure, yeah, you know, I mean, it's not like I'm not against bars or anything like that, I'm just not my
Yeah.
place where
I
I
understand.
go.
Yeah.
I would if somebody said, hey, Nancy, you want to come, especially if there's entertainment.
Oh,
of
yeah,
course, you
yeah,
know, I
yeah.
like that. And that's one thing about Corky's, if we could talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind,
It's not at all.
because they've had a fundraiser, that's how, when I met you.
Oh, yes, exactly. At Nico, she's one of our staff, an assistant manager at Corky's, and she was holding a fundraiser for her friend, her
Right.
good friend who's been suffering with cancer. So we do a lot of fundraisers. We have a VIP room upstairs that when you have events that you would rather be private,
Oh, I
grad,
didn't know.
grad reunions we have up there. We have Christmas parties, that kind of thing,
Right.
stags and stagettes. Friday, tomorrow, Bonnie Kilroy's coming with the Share Show. So
Oh, you won't see this, so it won't air in time.
Okay, all right. Well, okay. Oh, that will be last week then. We had Share.
Or a couple weeks
So,
ago.
we had Share, yeah, because depending on when it's aired. So we do like to bring in live music now since COVID is over. We didn't do any live music really prior to pre-COVID.
Mhm.
And then afterwards, it really just felt like a right thing to that corner to turn and let Corky's bring in. So we have a lot of live music.
Right, yeah, and you did a comedy event there, because I know,
Yeah.
because my friends,
Fraser Valley Comedy
Yeah.
comes in once every few months.
yeah,
So,
a couple of my friends
yeah.
asked me to film them, and
Oh.
I'm gonna tell you a little story.
Yeah, sure.
Was the end of their friends, I take them, it was then, and so I'm leaving, I don't drive, so a friend picked me up, but I'm carrying my camera and my tripod, and I come out of Corky's. Now there's a speed bump really close to the entrance,
Okay.
and I tripped over it, and I
geez.
went flat on my face. There's a cut under my nose, I have a dent here on my forehead.
Oh, no.
And there was so much blood, and I thought it was just a nosebleed, but
Yes,
when I
yeah.
got home, I could see there was a cut under
Oh,
there.
my goodness.
Fortunately, some young people picked me up, and
good, good.
yeah, again, I mean, it looked really bad, but
Right,
just because of
right.
the circumstances,
Right.
but it was so funny. But
Oh,
anyway, so now that's my story about Corky.
Okay. You've shed blood there too.
Exactly. Now I want to get back to the story, because
Sure.
you also share about what was going on with your property.
Yes.
So your property, that you bought this property, you had really beautiful plans,
Beautiful
right?
plans. Beautiful plans.
You get that go ahead, that's like.
We did. It's been exceedingly frustrating, and I don't, you know. I think my frustrating thing with the property the most is that we walked into something we didn't know, but I would ask questions. So I went to where I believed that the answers were.
Mhm.
I got told answers, only to find out 6 months later that the answers that I had been given by yes,
Who
but
you thought knew.
by the people that know things are not, and that has actually progressed even till this last year.
Is that right?
Yeah, not with the same group, like
Mhm.
not with the same, but even in different, like I'll be asking the house designer things. He gives me information that ends up not being correct. And it's just been like a snowball effect. And that's what my frustration is with that. The people giving me the information are not doing that deliberately.
No, I
right.
yeah.
So I have to always bring myself back to that. They're not trying to frustrate
Your
plans.
Yeah.
But it happens over and over again nonetheless. So yeah, there's times I just blank my head against the wall.
So what's happening at this moment in time?
Right now, we have had more delays with other issues, and we are still waiting to build.
So you're still in your
We're
trailer?
still in the trailer.
Oh
We're
my
still waiting
gosh.
to build. I mean, and if the trailer was in town, it would be really not cool. But we live in such a beautiful area, and it makes up for everything. And so my husband and I were just discussing it. I had just gone to Germany in August to visit Germany and Austria to visit my daughters, who are both there. And we were going to come back and discuss where we were going to proceed. And I think we've decided that we're going to wait till next spring because we want to see if interest rates will come down. We'll want to see if other things are going to just come down to make things more affordable. Because right now, with COVID, with the issues that we had been trying to overcome, and then with the onset of COVID, it put us basically out of price point of being able to do what we wanted to do. So I could put a tiny house on there, but I don't really want to do that. So yeah, we'll just wait. And
We have a lot of patience.
yes, I do have a lot of patience, but at the end of the day, like I said, it's beautiful out there. I have mountains and trees to look at. The creek is running really nicely after all this rain that we've had. It sounds great. It smells good. And so at the end of the day, at the end of the day, it's beautiful.
It is what it is, eh? Yeah.
Yeah.
And no, are you still in contact with that man from the Cayman?
I am. In a different regards. And so I'm not going to say any more because you haven't finished the book.
No, right.
And
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
would ruin the story for you. So I'm not going to say any more. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to rush through it before you got here, but
It's okay.
I
No,
today.
yeah, I know. It's not to me, like actually I have people who finished it in 24 hours.
Yeah.
I think Kindle calls it a 6-hour read. So if you're like starting from start to finish, it's 6 hours. When people told me they've read it in 24 hours, I know they miss things because and sometimes I laugh. I'm like, it took me 24 hours to come up with a sentence once. And so, but that's okay. If you enjoy reading quickly, I've had 3 people now tell me it's the first book that they've read as an adult. Yeah, and so to me, that is a huge victory. One of the women, Jackie, she's actually even in the book. She has read it and she's read it a few times over, but then she discovered that she liked reading. So she's bought another person's memoir to read that too. So it's put her on to reading. I've had one, Dave from the pub. He's 76. He said it's the first book that he's read since after he was at school as a teenager.
Yeah.
And he enjoyed the way that the stories were very short, like the stories were short, the chapters are short. He said I was an entertaining writer for him. And so to me, the 76-year-old who finished reading, he says, if you write another one, I will read it because I like the way you write. So
it is really good. Like I used to read like that. I used to look for books this fast because I used to read but as I got older, and of course I had a couple of those TIA strokes. So it kind of changes your brain a little bit, so it's hard to concentrate. But it is such an entertaining book. And again, the way it's written, I agree with that 76-year-old, the way it is written, it flows well.
Okay, yeah, that's what the editor had said when I gave it to her. It's the first book I've ever written in my entire life. So when I handed it to the editor, I was expecting to get my hands smacked. You need to change this. You need to change this. And she came back, and it was her words that sort of encouraged me with confidence to put the book forward in how it was written, was because she said it was excellent storytelling. So I was like, okay, good. She didn't know me. She doesn't know Chilliwack. She doesn't know anything. And so when I heard that from her, I was like, okay, good. It made sense out of the story. It was nice. Yeah.
And another thing is like living in Chilliwack. It's kind of fun to read about a place
I've had a number of people contact me since they've read the story, and they said it was great to see it through my eyes, the place where they live. So, and it is kind of neat because it is Chilliwack. All of it is Chilliwack, and it was fun to write about it. And I was very, as you get in the book, and as we talk about the foundation of hope that we were working on, I was doing more investigating of Chilliwack and like the city of Chilliwack, which is actually where I saw you, because I saw you interviewing our mayor. And I was like, oh, and so anyways, because I would watch just some of the mayoral, well, I guess a couple of candidates meetings, but you would have interviews with him as well as some of the city meetings, because I was very curious on how we as a community of Chilliwack were addressing the homelessness issue. And I was really pleased to see that there was a lot of things in place that just really needed more funding. So
And where do you get that from? Like we have people that like our property on this side here, there's our shrubs, and there's people that living in the bushes in the shrubs there, and it doesn't bother me that they live there. I get upset when they leave their garbage around, because we don't just I don't bother them.
Right.
I feel
Right.
sad that they live there,
Right.
you know, but sometimes it's 4 a.m. and they're fighting.
Yeah,
It's
loud.
like-
Yeah. There is it, you know, as it becomes worse, and like I said, at Corky's, we have a fair amount of homelessness around us.
Yes.
I mean, I can imagine down here on Spadina, right? That there's
Yes.
quite a bit of, it's just that area. So it is something that, I mean, we all see, and it's like, how can we help?
How can we
right?
help?
How can we
Because
help?
because the worst part is a lot of people are afraid of them. A lot of people, like this building is a senior building.
Mhm.
They're 55 and plus, and most of them are well past the plus.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so they have fear, and I said, no, just they're not hurting you.
Right,
They're not going to hurt you.
right.
A lot, some of them are drug addicts. We
Yes,
know
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, they're not after you.
Yeah.
They might ask you
yes.
for money,
Right,
but don't give them money.
right.
You
right.
know, if they're hungry, I've given them food. I've taken people to the restaurant, give them,
Mhm.
you know, have them
Mhm,
bought them
mhm.
something. But
Yeah.
you know, they're not out to hurt you. Stop being so afraid.
I think, well, even in Corky's, and I've had this discussion with some of our customers, and two, we will have a lot of homeless people in the corner. And I think I've discussed that in the book. And when the group grows large, I do call the security to have them
Okay.
dispersed, only because when people come in to Corky's, they see a large group and they get scared and don't want to come in.
Yeah.
So we are a business,
Yes.
right? Tony is the owner of Corky's, and he has bought it. He bought it from Pauline Harms about 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And it's his business and
Yeah.
it's his livelihood. And so you have to respect that as well. You know,
Absolutely.
we want customers to come in. You know?
So sometimes across the street, they're where the pharmacy is. Sometimes they'll camp up there, and then security. Somebody eventually calls security.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's again right in front of the
Yeah,
store or business.
yeah.
So
It would be great if there could be some, you know, permanent solutions to that. But,
well, yeah, I don't know what the answer to that is.
yeah,
You know,
I don't either.
right?
I don't know.
I mean, people come up with plans, but it just seems to, you know, fall through. And this affordable housing thing makes me insane.
Why
Because I
is
don't
that?
think I don't think there's any such thing.
Okay.
They build these buildings that, oh, it's gonna be affordable for whom?
Okay, yeah.
You know, it's usually already the rent is too high
Right, right.
for so many people, you
I
know?
guess maybe then that comes back to government subsidies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it comes back down to that.
Yeah. It's really something interesting. Anyway, are you from Chilliwack originally?
Originally, I was born, spent the early part of my childhood in Vancouver. We moved to Abbotsford when I was about in grade 3.
Mhm.
And then from Abbotsford to Yarrow in 1996. And then Chilliwack in 2003, I think. And then now Chilliwack River Valley. We've been there now 3 years. in
Oh, okay.
Chilliwack River Valley.
Right.
Yeah. So within the
Yeah. I'm just wondering too about your memory, because unless you were taking notes before you decided to write the book, the way it's chronicled, you ought to have a good memory.
Well, there were some of the stories that people have shared are poignant all on their own.
Right.
You've probably read Amy's story in there.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hear stories like that, I don't know if you've reached Phil's story yet. They're poignant. They're something that you don't have to try and remember. They're told to you and you remember them.
Right.
My own personal stories, obviously, I still remember them as well as my
Yes, of
husband's.
course, yeah.
The stories that Daryl was telling me were so fascinating. Like, they were amazing stories. So it didn't really come down so much to remember, because I was listening to them, and that's what I guess first drew me. It's like, these stories are fantastic. Look at you go. So yeah, I was listening.
And this whole Daryl in Corky's situation is so fantastic when you think about who he is and what he has behind him, and it's like, oh my God.
I know, that's exactly how I felt. Was like, really, in Chilliwack? This is pretty spectacular. So anyways, it came out in the book.
And how are your sales going?
Up and down. The very first month it came out, it was on Amazon's bestseller list for memoirs.
Ooh,
So that was fantastic. It has bumped. Its slowest month was last month. It's bumped up again in October, and it's that Amazon has their bestseller list is 100 books. So in different avenues, I think it was like there was a Rich and Famous, because it's under a Rich and Famous. It was within the bestseller lists in October for that. It was in the bestseller list for religion, because it discusses a little bit of my faith in there too. So it's under that. That one I laughed because it actually hit #1 in religion, and I was like, oh, look at that! I was right next to the yogi something or other. It was like, oh, well, why not? And when it's hitting the rich and famous ones, I laugh because I think it was near Patrick Stewart's new book was, and so it was kind of like, here, little old spinning on little old Chilliwack is hitting, sitting by Patrick Stewart, and so it's just kind of fun.
It is
that
fun,
way to watch that. Locally, the book is at the Bookman. It's in their local authors, and it's done alphabetically, so it's stuck right on the bottom, but that's okay. We sell it at Corky's as well, and there's autographed copies at Corky's as well as autographed copies at the Owl and the Cat Bookery.
Oh, you're right.
Okay,
so
very good. There's
that's so exciting.
It is really exciting. The feedback I've gotten is quite phenomenal, with people who purchased a book that they're sharing the story, sharing their books with other people to read.
Yeah.
So one book is getting 3 and 4 people reading it, which is fantastic because that's the primary. Yes, it's great to get funds in there. It was fairly expensive to put out.
Right.
The funds after the expenses of putting the book out are done are separated at the back of the book. It shows where the funds for the book are going.
Right.
And that's kind of an exciting project. That's a Hopes Projects project. But the what was I going to say? No, that's my train of thought like that one. Oh my goodness.
We're talking about the sales.
Thank
and how
you.
they're starting.
Oh, so when I hear that people are sharing their books, sharing my story with their friends and their family, and they're reading it and then they're passing it on. When one book gets 3 readers out of it, it's like good. You keep sharing that story.
You want people to like
absolutely. It's not that I want them to love the story. I feel that they need to know the story.
Yeah.
It hits so many different things. And when you hit the end, you'll understand why.
Oh,
they
okay.
need to
All right.
know
I
the
can't
story.
wait to get to the end. Really, I just want to tell everybody, listen, if you get a chance to read it, it is such a worthwhile reading. It really, really is worthwhile. It's a good read. It's an easy read, except that you're not going to want to put it down.
Well, that's okay.
Which I think is a good thing.
That's a very good thing.
I mean, to me, that's a good book when you don't want to put it down. I know it's thick, but it goes well.
We made the font big for people, so like that's what makes it bigger because of the fonts. It's a bit. I asked the company I was working with to publish it. I said, make it comfortable for people to read.
Yeah, I know this looks blurry, but that's like the print, so it's really good. And yeah, so listen, get out there. Christmas is coming up. What a wonderful Christmas gift for people.
Fantastic.
Right. So
they can like Corky's will always have them, and I'll make sure that our independent bookstores have them, but easily you can order them on Amazon, and also they're available on Indigo. Indigo Chapters, that's our Canadian. Noble, Barnes and Noble is American. I think even Walmart in the States carries it. So, and I had my aunt in Australia purchase it, and people in Germany and Austria have purchased it. So yeah,
that's nice.
It's kind of fun. Yeah.
And for those of us who live here in Chilliwack, it's nice to support somebody who's here. I know that not everybody watching this is Chilliwack, you're all over the place. So take the time out and just check it out, and then again, share it with your friends if that's what you want to do. Read it.
Yes, absolutely. Read it. It's a great book.
It is a really great book. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just stay here for.
Of course.
Stay on camera for a second. So remember, this book is by Glenda Toews. Okay. Works at, and you can go to Corky's and see her and meet her in person.
Yes, I'm there.
So go there, buy the book and get to meet her.
Bring it in and I will sign it for you. If you get it on Amazon or any other place, if you bring it in and I'm there, I will absolutely sign it.
Very nice. So what days do you work there?
I'm Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
There you go.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
During the day or in the evening?
Yeah, daytime.
Daytime. All right. So yeah, very good. Oops, I don't know what happened there. So anyway, check it out, people. So thanks again for watching the show. I hope you continue to do so. Take care. And it's a rainy day. So if you're short, you're not pre-shrunk, so use an umbrella. Take care, everyone. Peace out.
A sense of community, Chilliwack's a place to be. A sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.